All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Dre Devots. I'm a systems engineer here at Verify. I'm going to be your host for today's session. Today, we're going to show you how to start up some of those Zoom analytics. And here to present to you today is my good friend, Matt Sykes. How's it going, Matt?
Good, Dre. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, sir. Thank you for asking.
No problem.
All right, let's get started with a little bit of our agenda for today. First, we're going to start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. Then we're going to jump to a live demo where Matt's going to guide us through some of those Zoom analytics. We'll pause for Q&A during the demo. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A panel. After Q&A, we're going to reward one lucky attendee a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you've won. Verify is the preferred analytics and management solution for your migration and ongoing collaboration needs. Deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution, we provide industry-leading Call Manager, Cube, UCCX, Zoom Phone, WebEx Calling, and now MS Teams Analytics, along with a host of other Cisco Call Manager related tools like Remote Phone Control, Change Management, DN and DID Management, and more. We are the one multi-tool in your collaboration tool belt. If you have any questions on any of our features, please contact us at support@verify.com or reach out to your Verify Success Manager. One more thing before we kick things off, Verify does offer an enhanced consulting service to all of our customers. Verify's SE team engages with you on a one-to-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, report building, dashboard configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This provides you with a dedicated Verify SC to do the heavy lifting, giving you a stress-free hands-off experience. For more information on our ECS services or any of our ECS services, please feel free to reach out to our customer success team at success@verify.com, and we'd be glad to see if ECS is a good fit for your organization. With all that said, Matt, you can take over
All right.
and get to the demo.
All right. Thank you, Dre. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Matt Sykes again here with Verify. I'm going to start us out real briefly here. I know today is going to be a quick start guide to the Zoom analytics, but I just want to give a quick little showcase and look-see, if you will, for some of our dashboards. So I build these quite often. Verify certainly has our module for dashboard and widgets where we can certainly support multiple platforms at one time, or we can certainly silo them per dashboard. So a lot of high level kind of metrics that we can certainly discuss. But this will probably be more of my 202 class or on some of the other webinars that we have previously recorded. So I'm pretty much just going to shift gears after I give you kind of a look-see of certain different views from the Zoom Phone data perspective that we can certainly deliver to the field. So whether or not we're delivering and catering to executives, mid-level managers, help desk supervisors, or IT admins, et cetera, we can certainly build out different flavors of these dashboards with different data components for anyone within the environment that needs to see this type of content. Nice thing about dashboards as well is that even though I'm logged into this app right now, or this lab instance right now, viewing this manually, if you will, we can certainly turn on sharing for these dashboards called permalinking, so that these boards can be streaming live continually and definitely on larger displays or television screens within the environment to keep productivity measures and numbers at the forefront of people's minds that need to know these things. Okay, so I think I'm going to jump in lock, stock, and barrel right into module number 2, which is going to be our call analytics reporting. Pay no attention to the sync messaging here. It's just a lab issue of mine. But what I always want to do with Verify, with any customer or client that I'm showcasing the software to, or new deployments, or existing customers that are bolting on new UC platforms onto their Verify system. So I always recommend jumping right into the call analytics reporting module. It will have a sub menu here for history that it automatically deposits you into. Now, this is pretty much going to be your quick search section, or your sandbox, as I like to call it. Because what we can do in here is we can search and identify any of the data from the Zoom Phone system that we have written into our databases for reportability. And this kind of content also is useful to go ahead and build out dashboards and stuff like that, but we'll get into that probably in another session. So first things first, what I want to do is just explore the data. So now that we have Verify deployed, we're connected to your Zoom API, and we're retrieving call logs. We want to be able to just run quick searches. So within this section here, search criteria is just another kind of acronym or a naming convention, excuse me, for filters within Verify. So we have a drop down here underneath the search criteria for all the bits and pieces that are going to need to be filtered on, from originating to terminating to combinations and other bits and pieces therein. Now, we definitely have some lengthy lists, so we definitely have dynamic keyword searching kind of baked into the application as well. So if I needed a combination, I'll throw in an or statement here, shrinks my list pretty easily. But I could also even use a sample default field that we're going to that we always load up. Now, we can certainly change this field here if you want it to be maybe of a combination or a different filter type or search criteria type by default. We can certainly do that as well. But first things first, I always want people to get comfortable with their data. What does their data look like? How much data do they have? So once we have Verify deployed, connected to the Zoom API, we're receiving data, we can certainly use these fields right here, or even this default one. Now, we have all the conditional Boolean operators that we're going to need for inclusion, suppression, or even wide open kind of range filtering. Now, one kind of cheat or hack I always use is going to be the starts with operator. So regardless of the field that I'm using, this being a DN or a number pattern field here, I'm going to use starts with, and we do employ a wildcard character. While, don't get me wrong, if I knew what the extension number was, or maybe the phone number that I wanted to search for, I could certainly do that, but I can certainly get away with just searching with a wildcard. So a single capital X will be a single character wildcard paired with a conditional operator like starts with will pretty much ask the database engine where the calling number field is one character or greater with the starts with for whichever your time frame of choice is. Now, this section will default to current day. We can certainly click on the time window there, get the pop out, and modify our date range. So if we wanted something kind of relative, previous couple of months, or if we need something very specific at a point in time, maybe February 3rd, there was something we need to look at, et cetera, we can certainly do that. We can exclude certain days of the week and hours of the day as well. But with this quick kind of blanketed, wide open kind of search function I'm going to use here. So I'm going to search for the caller number, one character or better for the current day. So the caller number is what we were searching on here. So pretty much it's going to bring back to me everything that at least has one character in this field right here, which should be everything. Unless there's some blanks in that case, then maybe you could want to use a combination therein. But certainly, again, I want people to kind of immerse themselves just a little bit, just to scratch the surface and identify, what they have in their data. Now, what's fantastic about this history section here, now this is my lab. I play in here pretty frequently, so I have most all the columns that I feel that are needed for any kind of quick review or kind of breakdowns of the data that I may want to see visually. But if I slide next door in another lab that I have, out of the box, we're only going to give about 8 or 9 different column fields here. Pretty just, pretty whittled down, if you will, or just the brass tacks for, calling numbers, duration, time of day, stuff like that, and the results and direction. Now, we can certainly click on the show hide columns, and then we can certainly add in plenty of additional other options from the list on the left. So there's a lot of good data elements from the Zoom data set for, say, organizational based reporting. So let me slide back to my other lab. So for instance, like site, department, those are fantastic organizational levels that, if defined in the Zoom platform, Verify is going to be able to read those from the API pretty easily, deposit them into a screen like this or into a report or a dashboard widget. But then from there, you'll be able to kind of go ahead and build out what you need to for said locations. Now, also in this data set, if there are recordings that are taking place on the Zoom phone system, Verify will be able to also play back those recordings as well from the screen here. We do not store them. We are simply just reading them from the Zoom API on the playback from this section. Now, the nice thing also about this history section here is we do have all those kind of search fields. So I could certainly search widely like I am here with this wildcard, or I could use maybe something more org based. So if I want to use maybe site or department as an example, we're going to be reading the Zoom API for all these levels, for all these definitions. So as an example, maybe I want to pick on the Birmingham site if I want to, but I think I had a better option on department. So I'm going to key off of something I saw earlier, and this is going to be bi-directional. So I'm keying off of multiple directions, so caller or called. I'll pick on the Boston office as a quick example here. So I want to view all the calls for the current day that came to or from the Boston office. So there's been 43 of those so far. I can see what styles of call they are. Are they internal calls? Are they outbound calls? Are they inbound calls, as an example? So majority of these looks like they're calling from the Birmingham location, from the Boston office department. This one is not being classified here because I'm assuming it's probably a call from Alexandra to somebody in the Boston office. Slide to the right. And certainly we have device types in here, call it, usernames and all that. And sure enough, here we do. So this was an internal call from one office that's not being populated over to the Boston office. But just as a quick example that we can go ahead and easily, quick search whatever you need to in here. Now, while it's good to see this and vet that data pretty quickly, you can also export these results into a quick report. Now, when clicking the export results button in an ad hoc format, we can certainly do a couple different things here. We can turn on this top toggle here to save for future use. So if I maybe just want to say Matt test webinar, something like Zoom phone, as an example, maybe Boston office. And we may want to run that. Maybe we want to turn on some grouping. Maybe I want to turn on, what users are actually handling all those calls. So we definitely have options for this, but as well as we have templates that we'll get into it in a moment. But just a quick example of how I would extrapolate kind of a report out of this section here. So if I want to break it down by usernames, maybe display it by first name, last name. Let's leaderboard sort this as well. So not just name label, let's go total call count from highest to lowest. And then we'll just go ahead and quick run this. We'll run this. I will get a pretty PDF here with the content for those 43 calls. I can certainly suppress a lot of this information as well if I needed to. The report definitely doesn't need to be this lengthy. Maybe all we really need to see is the user breakdown for their call count handlements, their durations, their times, etc. Do we need to embed the granular call details into the report? We certainly can. Do we need to embed time period based data tables for day by day, week by week, month by month, or graphical representations of the same time frames? We certainly can do so. Nice thing about that one option that I have for save for future use, once I ran that export from here, it also, once it ran the report, it actually saved a copy into the other menu, the report section, which is where we're going to gravitate to right now. So in the report section is pretty much where all of these structured reports are going to be housed and where they're going to live. Now, you can certainly create reports from the ground up. You can import reports, or as an example, like the one we just ran, what was it called? Here it is right here. So here's the Matt test webinar Boston office that I just ran a couple moments ago. It's in here. So if I needed to, I can go ahead and play it again. I could make a copy of it and modify the contents of the configurations. Or I could even just delete it altogether, or even see what it may be being used for. Is it running on an automated schedule? Is it being used to feed a dashboard widget? Is it shared with other users in groups? So there's a lot of kind of admin functions that are kind of baked in there. But maybe you're thinking, okay, Matt, I've got no reports in here. How do I get reports in here? I'm so glad you asked that. Because for all of our UC platforms that we certainly support, we have report template packages. And let me just slide over here. Here's a knowledge base article that pretty much has the master list of the Zoom phone report templates that we certainly have. kb.verify.com will certainly get you there. You can certainly look at what the configurations are of these reports. You can click on the sample to get a pop-out to actually see what a sample report of this function could look like. And even from there, maybe you're wondering how to get your hands on them. Well, you would need to log in to get into the verify.com website to be able to download these templates and unzip them and then turn around and import them right into the UI through this import function option. Okay. So there's plenty of sharing capabilities for this as well. But once we have these reports in here, again, these are the templates that I was kind of making mention of a moment or so ago on the other tabs. So they all have the word template in all caps kind of starting here. So this 10-pack of reports we feel is pretty decent for the field to use as stepping stones to acclimate themselves with the Verify application. So whether it's hunting down a certain phone number or a certain extension, or looking at call queue usage, or reporting on 911 calls that have been made from the environment, dormancy included, org-based, pardon me, org-based style reporting as well, summarizations, total volumes. So we feel that most can be achieved from these templates. Now, while these are not the end-all be-all, again, certainly we can make copies and then modifications of the reports if we want to embed additional content in them, or maybe even not harm the template for others to use down the line as an example. So pretty easy to hit the copy button here. You will see it will inherit the space copy name on the back end. Certainly this I could go ahead and morph to whatever I want to call it. Matt XYZ, just as a quick example here. So pretty easy, same content, but I certainly could have modified the configuration elements within the report if I needed to, but I'm not harming, I guess, the initial template that can be reused by somebody else down the line. Okay. Now, from here, we can ad hoc run any reports that we need to. The play button is sitting right here for us. So if we wanted to take a, I don't know, this call queue usage report for a test bin, we can certainly hit the play button right here. We'll be offered output file format options. It will default to PDF, but you can certainly utilize CSV, Excel, or HTML. We have a handful of different deliverable options as well. Certainly you can download it directly to your machine. You can have it emailed to yourself. You can have it delivered to a WebEx chatbot. They can be delivered to FTP/SFTP servers on the network, or simply they can be written into the Verify application to be harvested at a later time. And it's definitely the time windows. So the time window, do I want to run this over the current day? Do I need to run it for a specific day in time? I have those options here, but definitely all the relative combination time units are down below. So current week, current and previous week, months, quarters. I even think year to dates at the bottom. Yep, even year to dates at the bottom. So plenty of options there for you to go ahead and run a report ad hoc from this section right here. Also, once you're kind of comfortable with the report and you feel that, okay, this template's good to go, I want to go ahead and schedule this on the daily or the weekly or the monthly frequency routines, then all we would need to do is just slide right next door into the schedules option. Now, within here, I think I have a couple already built. I do. And certainly, again, different deliverable options. I'm choosing email here on mine. Now, what time frame these want to run, we can certainly run them, whatever time frame of the day that you need to for whatever time window that we need to. So whether it's the previous month, the previous week, the previous hour, the previous day, we definitely have all those, relative time frames to go ahead and key off of that. So as an example, we can take a look at maybe what some of the a call queue daily report would look like. I think I have one handy here. So as an example, if a manager or a CQ manager wants to see all the activity, if you will, on all the call queues within the environment for, this looks like it's a week time frame, but for the week, for the month, do we want to run this daily to be sitting in someone's inbox to review in the morning? Now, this content will certainly have all the call queues, high-level summary statistics. There's definitely plenty of options for these reports to go ahead and remove this column or move that column or add in additional columns. Maybe we need average, average this or average that. There's definitely plenty of viable options in the report configurations that you can certainly take advantage of. Again, do we want to bake in time period based reporting for these CQs? Do we need graphical representation? So again, we can definitely whittle the report down to a very high level 1-2 pager, or we could certainly, polish it out with all this additional kind of content, including, if we needed to, the granular call details as well. Now, we certainly also have org-based reporting as well. So as I have made mention, there's sites, there's departments, there's users. So we'll definitely be able to deliver that, that org-based kind of reporting need. So if managers need to see how many calls are coming into this department or to that site, how many were inbound, how many were outbound, how many were abandoned, how many were answered, what's the answer rate look like, what does the voicemail rate look like? So all of those are definitely viable metrics that we certainly deliver. It's just how we want to package them. So I'm not going to ram metrics down anyone's throat here visually on this call, but definitely there are definitely quite a list of metrics that we can certainly utilize or swap in and out. These are just the base templates that we thought that were good for the field, but definitely they can be modified and added to. Maybe we want to key up device utilization, see what are the popular devices, maybe for the whole environment, or for certain sites, or for certain departments, or for certain users. Again, another stock report here that we have that will certainly deliver that content. 911 calls or international calls, those are definitely going to be, IT kind of admin kind of reports that they're going to want to know about. While we certainly can build out dashboard widgets that I normally do, that has this content always kind of running and refreshing. But again, we can certainly tag an automated schedule to this and have it delivered on the monthly or the quarterly basis to be delivered to whomever, whenever. So definitely plenty of options there from the reporting structure, just depending on what timeframes that we need. But again, I definitely would implore everyone that has Zoom Phone on their Verify system to just, again, immerse yourself with the data a little bit. There's definitely a lot of different things that we can do with this. There's a lot of data points that we certainly can see and validate. Do we need to look at again, I'm going to harp on the call queues. Do we need to look at, where are they? Here, call, I don't have any on this one, but do we need to look at the call queues? What are the called common areas that are answering all this call traffic if there's no end user representation or association in the Zoom Phone platform? So we definitely have exposure to all that pretty easily for anyone that has Verify in front of their eyes. Also suppressions again. So do we need to maybe exclude zero duration calls? Maybe I don't care about calls that are of the zero duration variety. So we can certainly easily whittle that list down and only look at calls that actually had connected positive talk time. So there's definitely plenty of options there for us. Longevity, of course, definitely you'll be able to see how much data you actually have in your Verify system to be able to report on. That is in the data summary clipboard up here, so that you can certainly then fluctuate and widen your time frame if you need to here as well. So if I want to cover year to date as an example, certainly I can go ahead and do so for whatever my filterable components are. I just choose not to do so at the moment. All right. Also, I want to make mention of custom labels. Now, while a lot of my stuff, as an example, let me zoom, no pun intended here, zoom out. There's definitely technical jargon, if you will, that comes with the data set from Zoom. So there's going to be pieces like called, calling, departments, and stuff like that, where it's kind of it resonates kind of the direction of the call. But if we needed to, we can certainly employ our custom label sets so that we can make it a little more user friendly on the eyes. I have a label set right here, just as an example, and we employ this for all of our UC platforms that we support as well. So whether or not we want to change detail column names, the search filter name types, the grouping types, we can certainly do all of that. Example, called device type, called party name. I've changed those to kind of take that out and go with maybe agent or department or user, so it's not so technical on maybe the more non-technical person's eyes, let's just say. So that's definitely all throughout the product. We can certainly do that. If we need to abbreviate things, if we don't want the whole word average spelled out, if we want to replace originating with the word outbound, et cetera, definitely all of those are viable and can be built in for the reports as well as the dashboard widgets to resonate again. Okay. Now, there's definitely a ton of content that we have on our verify.com website for all the ins and outs for our Zoom Phone reporting and stuff like that. But I do want to make mention, where is it? I have a page for it, webinars. So the current webinar we're on will be in this library soon, but definitely on the verify.com website. Let's zoom in a bit. Again, no pun intended. We have all of our videos that are able to be watched by logged in users to our site. Zoom Phones, this is a kind of a quick start guide for Zoom. Here are all the Zoom webinars that we had going back, well over a year or so. So definitely plenty of quick, short 15, 20-minute videos for managers, for users to go ahead and acclimate themselves with the application. What does this mean? What does that mean? Did you know how to build this? Did you know how to isolate this style of call here or there, etc. So there's definitely plenty of kind of self-help that we have here on our website. Also, they're on our YouTube channel as well. But definitely not to sell our support department, but definitely plenty of self-help that is out here for it. But definitely a lot of options for us to go ahead and build out and construct whatever data content or reports that are going to be needed within the environment, with plenty of scheduling frequency and and alerts as well. So if we need to trigger email alerts, I don't have any defined. 911 alert is probably in the US, probably one of the bigger, more kind of go-to alerts based off of call detail stuff that we see. So we can certainly easily build that out, or if it's an international dialing pattern or any type of other patterns that we need to see or be alerted to, excuse me. So we can build those out, and those can be triggered to deliver via email or to WebEx chatbots to make managers and supervisors aware that a certain condition or threshold has been breached. Okay. I think that is about all I have for now. We will have some updates coming for Zoom Phone down the line as well. Cradle to Grave being one of them, and that'll definitely stitch all calls together so we can see the full call, full life cycle of any calls that are traversing your Zoom Phone environment. With that said, Dre, might we have any questions from the attendees on this session for today?
We do, sir. We do. First question is, how do you determine by site? By user group? Can you do it by domain? So just a couple questions in one there. How do you determine by site? How do you do it by user group? And can you do it by domain?
Gotcha. Okay, so the first thing I would say is by site. So the users themselves are going to be living in are going to be programmed in Zoom to a site. So we're going to be able to key off. I think Birmingham was one of them. So if we need to look at what users, but this is no, this is called usage based here is kind of what I'm searching. This is not inventory of the configurables in the Zoom Phone API. This is definitely based off of phone call traffic. So as an example, I'm keying off of site if I needed to. Again, we have those org-based reports that I can certainly run for anything for Birmingham and see who all my, I guess, my calling users are within that site or within that department pretty easily. I don't think we have anything with user groups necessarily, but definitely the call queues and maybe slide over to the right. Call groups, where is it? Yeah, maybe call queues or call groups. Again, we would report on this in the same manner as well, but listing out what is of the positive, I guess, calling experience. Dormant users would not fall into these reports. However, we do have dormant reports that we can employ and run as well. So I do believe that's in my stack of, and here we go. So I definitely also even have a dormant user report as well. And then even from this template here, I could piggyback off of this and throw maybe site or maybe department. Again, if I want to see for all of my who are my dormant users, if you will, within inside the Birmingham site. So that's what that will bear fruit for that. And then we have it locked down to give us 0 call counts on the maximum call counts. So that would bear fruit for who are my dormant users, but of the positive users, I would probably think we'd probably just use the org-based style reports. A little long-winded here, but a couple different ways to do that. Anything else, Dre? What else do you have for me?
Yeah, it looks up. We got a follow up to that
Sure,
question as
sure.
well. It says you determine the site based on who we put into the Zoom site group? Question mark. So is that, did I say that right? You determine the site based on who we put into the Zoom site group.
Well, again, so what Verify is doing is not only are we retrieving data off of the Zoom call log API, we're also performing metadata pulls. So we're actually pulling in the metadata that's more org based, let's just say. So the device types, the calling sites, the departments, the call queues, the call groups, and stuff like that. So we don't necessarily know it's being fed to us from the Zoom API when we're making our extractions from the API, and then pretty much we're just filtering on it accordingly. We're not making any rules on this by any means. It's definitely kind of it's maintained by the source, which is going to be the Zoom Phone API. If that answered the question, hopefully. If not, let me know. We can certainly maybe have a sidebar on this.
Right, right, right. And then we have one more question. It was for
Mhm.
international, can you get down to the user slash caller level?
As an example of who placed that outbound international call.
I'm guessing, yes, it
It sounded
seems
that
so,
way.
yeah.
Correct. And it would be pretty much the same way of any outbound call. I mean, I'll pick on this top one here that Amia that dialed outbound to this number. Let's just pretend this is an international phone number as an example. I'm assuming it'd be much lengthier than these 10, 11 digits are here, but we could certainly easily build either in a configurable alert or in a report or in a dashboard widget for something that is meeting and matching that international pattern. So if it's 011 and then a whole string of characters after that would somewhat be synonymous with the U.S. outbound international dialing. If we were to kind of, and if this number fit the bill for that, then we would easily be able to kind of look up and see that this extension number for this user on this device for this amount of time on this day and time called out to that international number. So it's definitely something, let me zoom out here, something I always build out on my dashboards as well. I have an admin board somewhere that may have gotten messed up now. So yeah, so international calling exposures. So if we need to know how often those are happening, if I want to make this current day or broken down by day to identify when those are happening, certainly we can do so and then slide right next door and validate exactly who made that phone call out to there. Or if I even wanted to, I could probably make a copy of this widget and have it give me a breakdown of the users that are placing those calls to international or to the 911s and stuff like that. And even if I needed to, do I have it on this board? And even maybe build, no, this one's for QoS, but even build out maybe a detail widget as well, which actually gives me all the nooks and crannies, if you will, of that call for who made that call that went out to internationally. Again, their name, their extension, their device type, their department, their site, etc. So definitely all that is very tangible within the Verify UI. Anything else, sir?
Looks like that was the end of the questions there. And we're
Okay.
just up at our time anyway, so perfect
Okay,
timing.
fantastic. Well, all good things must come to an end.
That's right. Thank you, everybody, once again for being here for this workshop. Don't forget, next week we got our Microsoft Teams role-based access brought to you by John and Jim. Same time as always, every Wednesday at 11 PST. But thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and I hope you have a good rest of the week.
Take care, all. Thank you.